In this video, I'm going to share 3 things that have helped me understand the power of consumption and how to leverage it to produce the person I want to become and the lifestyle I want to lead. I am what I consume. Once I learned that short phrase, it altered my beginner mindset and really started moving me towards a lifestyle and the person I wanted to become. While I share my thoughts and experiences, I want to share the process of making this painting and really immersing myself in the words, I am what I consume. The number one thing I did was merely taking a step back and being aware and conscious of what I'm consuming. That means the food I consume, the books I read, the people I hang out with, the media I listen to, the podcast, every single thing that was sort of come external and entering my body, right, through my senses. I wanted to be aware of it. And just by being aware of it has made me disconnect from the things that started realizing that weren't serving me, right? So scrolling through endless hours of social media doesn't serve me. However, putting time and energy into creating art or creating and building my personal brand, figuring out a way to go speak at a certain event or at a school, that is time well managed as opposed to time dissipating into thin air into these social apps. So for me, just being socially aware of the things that are coming at me are really trying to take my attention, which is the most valuable thing next to time, right? So when it takes your attention, it's taking your time. And so once I started understanding that, then I started to really try to make conscious decisions about where to put my attention. By no means am I perfect at that. And there's plenty of times where my wife and I watch Netflix or Hulu, but it's a choice. We don't have a television. We have a small projector that projects on this blank wall. So technically we can only watch, our favorite shows or whatever in the evening when we're winding down. Number 2 is consuming things that make me uncomfortable. So as I consume other artists painting or other speakers doing their thing and storytelling, I'm also learning and improving my own craft. And the thing that I love is sort of getting uncomfortable. And while I work on this painting, I realized that, sometimes we seek that perfection. I want that line to be perfect. I want the shading to be perfect, whatever that means. However, in order to really understand fully what the painting wants to become, I have to allow it to become distorted and to be impacted. So for me, adding on the splatter, adding on, elements of distortion, putting things where I don't think they need to be or should be, it's all subjective. It's a painting. I literally have to give myself permission to make this what it wants to become. So there's this duality of this idea of what I want it to become, but also there's this other idea of what the canvas wants it to become. And to bring the colors to life and to bring those moments where I think there needs to be a straight edge, I push myself and say, you know what? Why does it need to have a straight edge there? Let's just make it dark. Let's just do something different. And so by doing that makes me realize that the things that I am consuming as far as becoming a better artist are actually challenging me to be just that. Number 3 is experimentation. Experiment with the type of things that you're consuming on a regular basis. So take, for example, what kind of books do you read, right? What kind of media are you consuming? What kind of food are you consuming? Try something different. Try something new. Introduce something new to the conversation. Instead of constantly just talking about myself, I love learning about other people. So I want to get better at listening. So I have the gift of gab, but the gift of gab is only cool when you're actually listening and paying attention to the person in front of you. That's something that's really hard for me. I love this idea of becoming a better listener. So instead of saying, I want to be a reader, I want to be a listener, a better X, Y, or Z, simply start saying, I am. Put the I am in front of there so you start acting from that perspective or being from that perspective. And that's helped me a lot. And so this idea of I am what I consume is putting that I am ahead in knowing that I am acting from this perspective. I am an artist, so I'm going to act like an artist. What does an artist do? He gets up, he paints, he creates, he writes, he thinks up ideas, he communicates, he meets with people, he shares his art, he faces those fears. You know, these are the things that I am. So when you start to put I am in front of what you want to be, then you start to become that almost naturally. So the next time you reach for that phone, next time you reach for your computer and you start scrolling and you're endlessly scrolling, ask yourself, is this serving me? Right? Sometimes I reach for the chips, man. I just literally ate a piece of candy. Does it serve me? Well, you know, sometimes you need a little treat, and that's okay to keep it moving. However, I also know I'm going to boxing class later. I also know I'm going to go for a run tomorrow. I also know that I'm balancing, you know, my not so great habit of wanting a piece of chocolate or having some chips, but I'm also reducing the consumption. And that is really what matters. Ultimately, it's hard to completely disconnect from something sometimes, and that's okay. So if you can reduce that or replace it with something healthier, that's the end goal, right? Is to improve yourself 1% every day. Using the frictionless method for me in putting into action this idea of what we consume, I put my shorts, my running shoes, my pre-workout sometimes right next to my prayer rug. So right as I enter my office in the morning, it's all sitting right there ready for me to indulge in my morning routine and take out the friction so that I can go for that run and feel good. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember, you are what you consume. Be conscious of that, and I hope you have a fantastic new year. Peace.